Welcome back to our monthly news roundup. This is Marching into Madness. I'm Bailey.
And I'm Marching into Madness, and I'm Raza.
And we're both marching. We're still figuring that part out. This week, we're going to be talking about... And... Welcome back to...
Hey everybody, welcome. Marching into Madness.
Hey guys!
Not like that, Skippy, but... To start things off, on the Canadian level, the Conservative Party of Canada has selected a new leader to replace Andy, I'm not an American, even though I really like their way of life, Scheer. And check it, he's just another white guy, Aaron O'Toole.
Oh, what a surprise!
It doesn't work now. It doesn't work anymore. But he's not that bad of a guy. During his victory speech last month, he said that as the leader of the party and the future Prime Minister of Canada, he will be a champion of women's rights and the LGBTQ rights as well. Grandpa is woke, apparently. His dub comes after social conservatives carried him to victory.
Social conservatives, a very weird one out here. So basically religious traditionalists without the religion. They support quote-unquote family values and other traditional societal systems, but like without the Jesus-y part.
Cool.
Okay? So, however, they try to distinctualize themselves from the far right and religious nutzos with the ability to compromise on sensitive issues like abortion and like stuff that's fucking reasonable.
He was their third choice, but he said he will address the non-traditional issues since there are more liberals than the rest of the party.
More liberal.
More liberal.
The Liberals really didn't know how to process his win because they're already calling on O'Toole, because he's Toole, to remove a local MP from caucus. Ontario MP Derek Sloan had used derogatory comments about the abortion and LGBTQ community. He has been condemned from all over, but still denies it, of course. O'Toole said no one should buy the Liberal spin, he said. I won the leadership of the Conservative Party as a pro-choice Conservative MP, one that won with a strong mandate, he said. With Western love, Alberta Premier Jason Kenney has endorsed him, being an ally to Western Canada, specifically being in favor of the pipelines. Very social conservative. By the way, I have great confidence in his ability, his wisdom, and his total dedication for fairness for Alberta and a strong
future
Alberta of our resource industries, Kenny said, because we will secede your ass otherwise.
When asked how he'd be different from Scheer, O'Toole was blunt. I have a track record of serving Canada and getting things done, he said. That's why I'm not famous. I'm not well known. I get things done. I don't drop the ball. Scheer getting roasted. Boy, the next thing we see is a big battle between leader.
Don't sue. Life already sued them in one.
Damn. During an interview on HBO, our dear president, well not ours, said it is what it is, though, right?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. When asked about the growing number of COVID-related deaths in the U.S., that's the shit you say when you go negative on Call of Duty. In the same interview, he downplayed the death rate, saying the virus is under control. They're dying. It's true. It is what it is, though.
Yeah. There's case death. Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad. Well, much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc. You can't do that.
But that doesn't mean we aren't doing everything we can. It's under control as much as you can control it. He added by showing how big his balls are. Those people that really understand it, they really understand it. He said it's an incredible job that we have done.
Let me put this into context for y'all. America has a population of 358 million, with 4.7 million cases and growing with 155,000 deaths. In response to this, Donnie said, you have to go by the case numbers, whatever that means. Just to repeat, those people that really understand it, that really, really understand it, they said it's an incredible job that they've done.
Cue pride, brother.
Cue pride, brother. Cue no.
During the same interview, he was asked about the late civil rights activist John Lewis, who played a big role in passing the voters' rights in 1965. When asked about Lewis and not attending his funeral, he said, and I quote, I really don't know. I don't know John Lewis. He chose not to come to my inauguration. All right. I never met John Lewis. Actually, I don't believe. Adding, he was a person that devoted a lot of energy and a lot of heart to civil rights. But there were, there were many others also. So now I guess the president decided to do his civil rights reading.
Yeah, in his spare time when he's not watching Fox News. Russia has apparently taken a W in the form of a vaccine for the rhinoceros disease. Became the first country to register its vaccine is already ready to use it within 2 months of testing on humans. Russia's daddy, Putinus Maximus, has said that the vaccine is made in Russia by a Moscow-based company called Gamaleya. The first person he gave this vaccine to was his daughter, actually, and I think we kind of know which one he likes worse.
Sucks to suck. The results were more questionable. She had a 100-degree fever after the first shot, and it went down to 98 after the second, but it rose up. Russian scientists have moved to phase 2 and 3 and started vaccinating most of their healthcare workers. Something that can't be done here because at least we pretend to support civil rights. There's a connection there somewhere. This vaccine offers protection from Rona for up to 2 years, and is intended to be called a Sputnik 5 in foreign markets.
Former U.S. presidential advisor Stephen Bannon got arrested last month for defrauding donors in a scheme to help build the signature wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. The scheme he is being charged with is related to the online crowdfunding fundraiser he had to wait for it, build that wall. He actually managed to scam about $25 million. To defend himself, Bannon used more than $1 million to cover personal expenses.
Could you imagine if I had $1 million?
His BF, Thumpy Thump Boy, tried to distance himself from Bannon in a press conference. Quote, I feel very badly. I haven't been dealing with him for a very long period of time, Trump said. I don't like that project. I think it was a project being done for showboating reasons.
But didn't he back it?
Donald Trump Jr. called the organization a private enterprise at its finest. Faster, better, cheaper, and saying what you guys are doing is pretty amazing in a testimonial on the group's website.
Remember when Mexico was gonna pay for the wall?
We remember.
We remember.
We remember.
We remember. We look. This zooms in on.
Do you remember? We remember. Remember. The charges against Bannon are being handled by the same federal office that prosecuted Trump's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, and is investigating his current lawyer, Rudolph Giuliani. You ever taken how Giuliani's first name is so fitting because of his alcoholic nose? Yeah.
So it took me a minute to realize that.
Anywho's Bannon left the White House in 2017 to do this shit, I guess. And I actually have, did you know that Bannon was actually...
Can you...
we'll go back. Bannon, ready?
Yeah.
Did you read about how he got arrested? Let's go. It's just like Arrested Development. He got raided on his yacht by the post office.
And it just makes me want to set myself on fire.
But the post office?
Yeah, it was post office.
I thought it was
the federal prosecutor is handling it, but he was formally arrested by the post office.
That's amazing.
They have a police force, and no one knew, and let alone imagine being a Steve Bannon. You're rolling with people who rig proxy wars and topple dictators.
And your mailman is coming
and you got arrested by the mailman.
Yeah.
Imagine his ego as one of those fucked up bad guys.
And that is why Trump wants to defund the post office.
because they arrested
because they got his bro. They did more work than ICE has done. And shit. That's so funny. The post office. Yeah. That's getting arrested by the hall monitor. The White House wants to add the big man's face to Mount Rushmore. According to South Dakota's Governor Chris Noem, it's Trumpet's lifelong dream for his face to be on the iconic mountain. This isn't the first time he said he wanted to do it. Back during his 2016 campaign trail, he said he was looking forward to doing it. Well, now, as I said before, he's doing it. However, as per usual, he can't read the room. During his July 4th speech to supporters in South Dakota, Trump defended his decision to deface a mountain that's already been defaced, saying it'll stand forever as an eternal tribute to our forefathers and our freedom. As we meet here tonight, there is a danger growing that threatens every blessing our ancestors fought so hard for. Mount Rushmore, which by the way has been criticized for reasons representing everything wrong with slavery and colonialism, all while being built on native reserve land. It's the last part that always gets me.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
The system is showing its ugly flaws once again.
COVID or something?
So this time, another unarmed and defenseless black man was shot an absurd amount of times in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Jacob Blake was gunned down by police while they were responding to a different goddamn situation.
Goddamn.
Kenosha police responded to a 911 call about a domestic incident around 5 p.m. The caller said Blake wasn't supposed to be there and that he had taken the complainant's keys and refused to give them back. Officers responding to the call then found that he had an existing warrant, which led to them shaking in their boots due to their prejudiced fears, right? So, the shooting once again caused protests, which devolved into riots as we are once again faced with the failure of the police to handle their jobs with any sort of competency.
Witnesses say he pulled up in his car where 6 or 7 women were yelling at each other and that he was trying to stop them. The cops then pulled up as well, prompting Blake to go in his car with his 3 sons in the back. A video captured the whole incident, has police telling Blake to put a knife down. The person who recorded the video said there wasn't any knife and he didn't seem to be violent. After failing to arrest him and subdue him, Blake enters his car from the driver's side, all while cops have guns pointed at him. Imagine if he was white. As Blake leaned into his car, Rustin Shesky, then the cop on the scene, grabs him and shoots him 7 times.
4 of those 7 shots hit Blake in the back. 4. He missed 3 at point blank. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Krall told the media the following day that he had a knife and that Blake had informed the police of it, but couldn't say if it was related to the shooting or not. Blake was flown to a hospital where his father announced that he had been paralyzed from the waist down, unfortunately. Rustin Shesky, the cop who shot Blake, has been placed on admin leave. Like every other cop, he'll go away for a month, come back, and he'll have high fives and hands waiting for him.
Following the shooting, the NBA, the WNBA, the MLB, soccer, tennis, and the NHL have all done limited boycotts to show solidarity, which we think is great, but provided some great propaganda bait for the Roganites.
Always trying to find some shit.
Always find it.
Of course, following these events, protests arose in the small town of Kenosha. But let me tell you a tale.
I should sit this one out then.
A young patriot fed wild lies about what is going on in our society, asked his mom to drive him to these protests, riding shotgun with his mama, being wild brazen with the Yappo, which he had illegally acquired at the age of 16, probably just fucking manhandling it, remembered all of the things he was taught during his tenure at Junior Police Academy, to always presume a threat of violence, exquisite trigger discipline, perceive any sort of crime as an obstruction to maintaining peace, to see protesters as the antithesis to these values.
Later that day, a 17-year-old white boy, Kyle Rittenhouse, is always Kyle, is being charged after opening fire during the protests. He sought to maintain the peace. In total, Kyle caught 2 charges. First degree 1, which is likely to be deemed intentional, and additional count of reckless homicide, another count for attempted intentional homicide, and finally 2 counts of recklessly endangering safety for opening fire in public. We are living in a third world
7
country.
counts, Doc.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, and don't forget about the case for the big-ass Nam-era gun Mans was carrying.
Oh Jesus.
He cleared a psych eval performed by the department, but would often post police stuff on his Facebook.
So that's kind of, that's a red flag right there.
His posts indicate that he is extremely pro-police and has appeared and attended the former Police Explorer program, a career-oriented program for youth considering a career in law enforcement, and many of his social media posts use the phrase, Blue Lives Matter. This info according to the Anti-Defamation League. Also, if it matters at all, he's a lifeguard at the YMCA.
So he's like your typical bootlicker, by the way. On a much lighter note, it's time for your monthly whale news.
Dory. What are you doing? What are you doing?
2 whales named Little Gray and Little White, which haven't been out in the natural world until now. They both travel 6,000 miles from China to the world's first open water sanctuary for beluga whales called Sea Life Trust in Iceland.
That's really cool.
You have some, yeah.
I'm a blast at holiday-themed parties.
That's weird. I don't know why you would say that. This journey began last year where they both lived in a temporary care facility and were able to grow more blubber to get used to the colder water. Plus, this allowed them to get used to the natural flora which can be found on the sea floor.
According to whale and dolphin conservation, well over 300 belugas worldwide are held in captivity today. And death rates are doubled in captivity than that in the wild, as belugas live up to 60 years in the open ocean, but often 30 or less under the rule of the man. In context, both Lil Gray and Lil White are still pretty young at 12 years old and are expected to live well into their 40s.
So watch out for their mixtape.
Their sanctuary may be their new home for a minute.
I'm not doing that. Back to the bad. I'm so pessimistic. Back to the bad news. Early last month, 2 massive explosions rocked Beirut, destroying buildings, killing and wounding people, resulting in at least 6,000 deaths, upwards of $15,000 billion in property damage, and leaving around 300,000 people homeless. This was one of the deadliest disasters the country has ever seen. Around 2,000 tons of explosive substance, which is the equivalent to about 1.1 kilotons of TNT, which was stored for 6 years in an open-air warehouse without any safety measures. It was under the possession of the Lebanese port authorities, who confiscated it from the abandoned ship MV Rosas. I can't say that. But it's not knowing yet what caused it to ignite. Well, the blasts were so strong, the residuals were reported as far as Israel.
Following the explosion, there was countrywide protests about the current government, using the handling of the ports as a prime example. This led to Prime Minister Hassan Diab and his entire cabinet to resign. Experts say the explosion had an equivalent of a 4.5 magnitude earthquake and is considered to be one of the deadliest non-nuclear explosions in recorded history. The crater it left was 140 effing feet deep. Take a moment to consider that. That impact alone in any city would devastate it and change its course of history forever. My heart goes out to the Lebanese people.
Spain's former king has dipped, and he didn't even inform his secret family, like barely dead. Since Spain's Supreme Court opened its probe earlier this year, Spanish media outlets have published testimony from a separate Swiss investigation into millions of euros that were allegedly given to Juan Carlos by the Saudi Arabia's late King Abdullah. He's kind of a big deal since he stood up to a military coup in '81 and has been helping Spain peacefully restore democracy after the death of the dictator Francisco Franco in 1975. Hopefully he'll be back with those cigarettes soon, like his dad.
In June, the Canadian government announced that they would be working with the Weed Charity, a charity known for its Weed Days, which are like Woodstock, but for rich
white
people
people
to feel like their kids are philanthropists. The government asked the charity to create a program for students who have been hit by the disease. And with that, Weed Charity got about a cool $43 million, give or take. The problem is that both our good-looking sex god Justin Trudeau and Finance Minister Bill Morneau have an intimate connection to the organization. Both of the Finance Minister's daughters are involved with the organization, and the Prime Minister's family members also took money from the charity.
This whole thing plus $40,000 for 2 humanitarian trips in Kenya and Ecuador where Weed does work unpaid until this past summer. The aftermath is that Monroe resigned from the job, stating, "I met with the Prime Minister today to inform him that I do not plan to run again in the next election." Oh, and our Liberal shining beacon of hope is facing an ethics investigation over this for a second time this year.
Very trustworthy.
Come on, Trudeau.
It's cool though. Canada gets a new finance minister during Trudeau's cabinet shuffle. Chrystia Freeland will be our first female finance minister. Someone who doesn't have experience in finance. I guess that's politics now. You may know her as our deputy prime minister and one of Trudeau's most trusted allies. In case you thought any of them cared about us or had experience in their departments.
Doubt. The last fully intact ice shelf indicating Arctic fell into the water, losing 40% of its mass in just 2 days. What makes things worse is that July was the world's 3rd hottest July on record, ever. Above normal air temperatures, offshore winds, and open water in front of the ice shelf are all part of a recipe for the shelf to break, the Canadian Ice Service said on Twitter. The shelf falling shrinks the area about 80 square kilometers. To put that into context, the island of Manhattan in New York is only about 60 kilometers.
Spend my day thinking about a that hasn't been touched by white hands.
According to new guidelines authorities. According to new guidelines, obesity is no longer defined by someone's weight or size, but by body fat percentages instead. The Obesity Canada and the Canadian Association for
Bariatric
and Physicians and Surgeons state that obesity is a complex disease and can't be fixed by working out or eating less alone. Usually doctors would say obesity can cause other things that go wrong rather than saying obesity is the problem. But still, doctors and health experts are becoming more broadening our perspective from the times of a food pyramid.
Fuck the food. I'm so
Fuck the
anti-food
food pyramid. I agree.
Have you seen The Golden
Why is
Eye
it dark?
or played The Battlefield 4? Then you probably know what the Arecibo Observatory is. Located in Puerto Rico, one of the largest single aperture radio telescopes in the world has suffered extensive damage after an auxiliary cable snapped and crashed through the telescope's reflector dish, leaving behind a 100-foot hole in the observatory, which stretches 1,000 feet over the karst sinkhole in northern Puerto Rico. Previously, that was good. Arecibo was this one was the largest one in the world, but China beat it by 500 meters with the Aperture Spherical Telescope in 2016.
3 sailors were rescued by Australian and US military after they were stranded on a remote island in the Pacific Ocean when they were spotted with a giant SOS signal. A helicopter spotted a sign on Polyglot Island next to a shelter. Thereafter, rescuers were able to check up on them and see what it do, baby. The 3 sailors were supposed to complete a 42-kilometer journey between the 2 coral reefs, but their skiff lost fuel and one off course, eventually leading them to the island. Rating's hard.
I know, but it was cool that it worked out. Almost 2 decades later, after Jam Master Jay was murdered inside his studio, arrests have finally been made.
R.I.P.
For nearly 18 years, the case was a mystery, and with no eyewitnesses nor motives to explain the shooting. Up until now.
Up until now!
Cue the SVU music. 2 suspects were named, Rondell Washington, who's already in prison, and Carl Jordan Jr., who was arrested by the ATF
Named after a
last
burger.
month, are both the alleged killers. According to prosecutors, Jay was murdered for allegedly leaving Jordan and Washington out of a multi-kilogram, multi-state narcotics transaction. It is also alleged that Jay received a package of 10 kilos of cocaine just months before his murder. A lot. Both of the suspects are said to have been partners of Jay's, but were left out of the drug deal following the disagreement. Jam Master Jay was sadly murdered outside his Queens studio in 2002, but with no leads, the case went cold until 2017.
Up until now. All right, this one's for all you weeks out there. Avatar: The Last Airbender lost their creator, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian, how do you say that?
Brian, I don't know.
Who were supposed to be in charge of the Netflix live action adaptation. The split was due to creative control between the duo and Netflix. DiMartino said that while the Netflix show has the potential to turn out well and people might enjoy it, whatever version ends up on screen, it'll not be what Brian and I have in vision or intended to make. But Netflix is known to be more flexible with their showrunners and notorious for being creative, freedom and minimal, and giving them freedom and minimal notes. Unlike other networks who have a heavy influence on production of the content.
As long as it's not as bad as Death Note, that's all I want.
You don't have to say anything.
Is it me again?
Yeah.
What? No, it's you. I'm not saying it.
Scroll
Why
up.
do I have to say it?
Because it says you.
That doesn't mean I have to say it.
It does. You're so sad about this.
If there's anything in my way, I just pee on it.
Your fave YouTuber is back in the news. That's right, not us, Jake Paul. Early last month, Paul's Los Angeles house got raided by the FBI. The LA also searched his 2 other locations in Las Vegas, but no arrests have been made, and there isn't any warrant for his arrest, which can make one believe that it could be staged. Sadly, Jake wasn't home, according to the FBI, but this all supposedly is tied to the investigation into criminal trespassing when he was Instagramming himself inside a mall in Arizona during the initial wave of the riots earlier this summer.
Fuck Jake Paul. His business partner was a pimp, you know that?
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Jesus.
I'm sweating like a cow.
Microsoft announced that they're looking into buying TikTok. This comes after Trump said he would ban the popular Vine ripoff app off of the App Store.
That's how this, yeah, fuck you. Something that India has already done.
Okay, grumpy boy. Trump cited security reasons as the app is Chinese, and ByteDance, the parent company of TikTok, has been called out for sharing info with the Chinese government, which they kind of have to do. The deal, hopefully, should go through by mid-September, and once Microsoft buys the app, they'll do a full security rundown of them shits. You know?
Google Music go bye-bye. Bye-bye. Android's music service is closing down because YouTube Music is a thing. And for the 8 of you who own YouTube Music, why? The reason behind the service closing down is that YouTube Music got more popular with a whopping 10 new subs to bring a grand total of 11. As of right now, you can't pre-order, upload, download, or do anything. Then in December, Google gonna take Google Music in the back and put it out of its misery. What the? Oh god, I'm gonna have a heart attack.
So go check out that deal that Google has with Spotify now. Because if you sign up for Spotify, you get a free Google Nest Home. So there's some wild shit if they're just taking over the YouTube, right? If they're getting rid of the YouTube and giving away the Google Nest, they got some behind the scenes shit going on.
With Spotify?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because now they don't have to stream the music. They'll just have Spotify pay all the license.
Then
Then they're out of the music game.
and it's a one-win then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dude, what are the...
Why do you keep putting these things in here?
I don't.
Yes, you do.
I don't, man.
Shut up.
Hey! Hey! Whoever put these things in really has for you.
Call it Yahtzee all want. It's just f***ing chess.
What? About 3.5 billion years ago, Mars apparently had glaciers just like ours. Scientists published a report saying that 200,000 years ago, the Earth had the same glacier as Mars did at 3.5 billion years ago. It's the fact that Mars has the same climate as the Canadian North that points to either having life or supporting it.
That's dope.
I don't know.
Microsoft Flight Simulator dropped last month and people are already going crazy with its latest feature. Using satellite data, the game uses Microsoft Bing Maps, which I didn't know exists, to basically allow the players to fly anywhere as if it were the real world. Some creators have been having a lot of fun with the new assets because it's a cool idea. Hosting live streams, flying from New York to Dubai, which is pretty fucking cool. Took 16 hours real time. Now you'd expect them to go cool places like flying over the Great Wall or into storms, but no, commercial flights.
Yeah. People are flying to Jeffy Eppy's Island, which is located in Little St. James in the Virgin Islands. While players can use Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 to check out the island, like much of the game, it's not a perfect recreation. There appears to be a building in the same spot where the dome building should be, but it looks completely different because again, it doesn't have a dome or any of that things.
The concept of an official American Army Twitch channel massively backfired when they were banning people for commenting on their war crimes during their streams, which is pretty badass if I do say so. Also, falsely running a contest while corrupting the youth to join the US Army. Twitch then banned the channel, however last month they did reinstate it. Quote, the US Army esports team, which is weird, is reinstating access for accounts previously banned for harassing and degrading behavior on its Twitch stream, the Army told Motherboard by Vice in an email. But because of those blocks, the US Army is facing a First Amendment lawsuit in regard to the silencing of the comments. The legal case is being pursued by the Knights First Amendment Institute.
Since the controversy started, the team has been on the down low. Jordan Rule, the progressive activist and Twitch streamer who is working with the Knight First Amendment Institute, says that he is still banned from commenting on the US Army's Twitch channel. The US Army, Navy, National Guard, and Air Force all maintain a presence on the Twitch and run esports teams. As they've entered these digital spaces, gamers have pushed back against them. Sadly, the military isn't going away, and this battle is far from over.
Sure, we can go for a back rub. Who's asking?
You're supposed to be more anime about it.
This man's been sneaking stuff into the scripts and he thinks he's a laugh riot over here. He can't even hold up his own jokes. Look at, he's on the floor. He would bait me out like some.
Okay, I'm good.
Well, okay.
I'm good.
Okay, well.
We're gonna get better at that.
Thank you everybody for watching. We had a great time throwing it together. But big thing, Instagram, IG, at marching_into_madness. Follow that. We've been building in the background. It's our Instagram page.
Wait, Instagram page?
By the time this video's out.
No way.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Look at how sexy we are.
That's the first I've heard of this Instagram page.
I shared it with you, you fucking...
We've been Instagram. Oh,
Yeah, we do.
I don't remember you sharing anything.
I made you change the old handle and everything.
I didn't change anything.
Okay, well, look at us. We're magic. I'm so good at my work. Raza doesn't even know about it. So thank you for watching.
I'm a guest.
He feels like a guest. We got a
Can
Discord.
we
We
just
got links
sit
and
down and have a conversation about the future of you and I
What?
as a fucking friendship? Where is this going?
We can try after we break down next month's news. Okay, you can follow him
Thank you. I don't know where to go.
on Twitter. The link's in the description. He likes to troll conservatives. That's all he does all day. I post weird videos on Instagram
And has a mindset of a 60-year-old.
and would like to take Adobe to court if anyone can tell me how to do such.
Why would you? Never mind. Again, follow us on our socials. It'll be down here.
That's what I just said.
I don't care. I'm just backing it up. Sub,
Yep.
hit the bell,
Yeah.
Discord.
Yeah, we got Discord and we got game streaming at some point.
At some point, we have no idea when we're doing it. We're just gonna prioritize what needs to come first. But it'll happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ugh.
Fuck. Well, I don't know. I had a good mouth. Sorry. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm just dying up front here. I really need to take a giant shit, but my body is refusing to let it leave me.
Oh my
It's
God.
fighting with itself.
I think that's called constipation.
I don't have a I took a good shit this morning. Yeah, a great one. And marinate.
What, you want to take a break? Marinate how so? I want marinate.
I want to marinate with you. That was good. Oh my god.
It did go well.
It did go well.